Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in, Hunt and Hill on a Tuesday from the Mercedes-Benz Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city. I am Hunt Palmer, he is Hill, Jeremy Hill, Casey Gaines, and Taylor Sharp on the ones and twos. Mr. Hill, how we doing?
Doing a lot better. Saturday was in my craw for a little bit, but getting forward through the week. We're almost getting there. Just got to stop thinking about it so
week
much.
To week. Next week.
To week. Yeah,
week to week. Next week. With you till 3 o'clock today. Glenn West of Go 247 with us in 30 minutes. We'll have Sharif Ishak at 2:30. You're probably not going to want to miss Sharif at 2:30. He is very cranky about the Bengals' presence, and I'm going to pick at that scab a little bit, and we'll see how that goes at 2:30. Rumor has it. Can't confirm. Rumor has it. Might be talking some baseball at 1:45. Might sneak some baseball. Rumor cannot confirm. Just we'll see. But we will start with some football. I wanted to kind of take a look at this offense, Jeremy, because it's one of those deals where there are so many issues. You have an offensive line that they tried to patch together. They had all camp of pretty much a healthy offensive line to put this thing together. And then they went out there against Florida State, hated it, and scrapped it and went with something else. Then the injuries started to crop up. And you've had injuries, different combinations, and they haven't been great. You've got a quarterback who has been very careful with the ball, who has not seen the field very much, has tucked it and run, but has used his athleticism to try to extend some plays and make some things happen. You've got running backs who have very pedestrian stats. You've got wide receivers who often aren't being targeted and sometimes are dropping the ball when they are. And it's an offense that is not coming up with any big plays whatsoever. In a 14-team SEC, LSU right now looks up. They are 14th in the conference in pass plays of 20 yards. They've got 13 of them. They are 14th in the conference in pass plays of 30 yards. They've got 5. To be clear, South Carolina has 13, Auburn has 9, and Vanderbilt has 8. LSU has 5. Last in the league. They're 12th in the SEC in yards per attempt. Only A&M and Missouri are worse. And with all that being said, 14th in the league in big plays through the air. 14th in the league in big plays through the air. 12th in the league in yards per attempt. They're 3rd in the league in passing attempts per game. And that's with as much as Jaden Daniels runs on pass plays. So they don't love the running game. They're not very good at it. They're not great at the pass game. They do it almost as much as anybody in the league. They got a lot of work to do on offense.
Yeah, they do. They do. And I think, you kind of get those numbers. That's why we talk about it. You can't put too much hype in those first 3 or 4 games of the season. As this thing kind of plays out a little more, you can kind of get the real numbers and kind of dig deep into what's really going on. That Southern game is really, tilting things another way. That New Mexico game's tilting things away. But I'm sure if you just look at the Power 5 games, that passing attack isn't looking too pretty right now. And so I think it's easy to just kind of put it on one thing, but I don't think it's just one thing. I think it's a culmination of a bunch of things. That's why this passing attack isn't where you probably thought it would be, kind of looking at the receivers you had in that room. Rather, it's a rotating offensive line. I don't know what combination we're going to get this Saturday, how many different, starting offensive line we've seen thus far. Obviously, you can talk about the drops that are in there. You can obviously talk about just, the lack of, taking deep shots down the field. And you put that with, this new coordinator, new quarterback, new system and everything that way. It just hasn't been to the level that you need to be competitive in the SEC. And so I think going forward with this offense, they're going to have to change a lot of things that they do. I know Coach Denbrock has this identity and kind of how he wants this thing to look. And I know Coach Kelly, is probably lock and key. And with that alignment that he always talks about, he's probably following along that way. But if you're going to continue to kind of have the kind of passing attack we've kind of saw this season, a lot of hitch routes, a lot of quick little, flat routes to the tight end and all things of that nature, it's going to make it extremely, extremely difficult to sustain drives, especially when you don't have a run game to back it. You're going to have to take shots and get some chunk plays. So maybe that's something that they're trying to do. I've been preaching it all year. Hopefully we'll see it one of these good Saturdays, get these guys some targets down the field, and maybe you get a PI call, maybe you get an interception, but just doing what you've done so far, it's going to look exactly like the numbers you said, 14th and 12th, and just some of those just bad spots you don't want to be if you're a passing attack.
It's harder to statistically put into perspective what the running backs have done thus far because Emery was out the first couple of games, and then our one Goodwin gets hurt, and so no running back has taken charge, but they're not great at running the football either. So in your estimation, if we're to sit here and try to be a little bit optimistic, we've painted the picture to be pretty bleak. What part of this offense is most likely to get better? Is it creating some bigger plays down the field? Is it a consistent run game? Is it just a more efficient passing game? Is it an offensive line that maybe gels together with time? Like, what is the most likely piece of this dysfunctional offense that might get better?
Yeah, I think Coach Kelly kind of mentioned it in the presser last week, and he's talking about maybe we mix some 7-man protection in there, give Jaden some time in the world, some big play action stuff, and give these receivers some opportunities to kind of go down the field. I think you've really kind of seen them try just about everything. You're seeing the jet sweepification, you're seeing the screens to the receivers, seeing the ball getting out quick. You've tried all the little stuff. I think now it's time. You got to stretch the field. You got to put pressure on some of these defensive backs in the SEC and really make those guys, see if those guys can make some plays down the field, because it's just not an offense where you can sustain 13, 14, 15 play drives, eat the clock up, and you know you're going to score a touchdown at the end of it. We just haven't seen that, especially with this revolving offensive line. So for me, I would just love to see more of that, more shots down the field. I know I keep saying it over and over, but when you really look at some of this game film of kind of what they've done, they've kind of tried everything else. They've tried just about everything except that. So they try that again, and maybe it doesn't work out. Maybe Jaden throws 2 or 3 interceptions. Well, then you can knock that off. But I think you got to try everything, especially with so many games left to play in the season. I think doing what you've done so far, you know where you are ranked in the SEC in just about all of the meaningful statistical categories. You got to try going down the field, I think.
So you mentioned interceptions. That brings up an interesting point. I'm going through the statistics here, and I'm looking through, and you realize how much I've got to pour through to go through where they are in all these statistics. And I look up and I go, one interception. I thought we made a big deal about how Jaden never throws it. When do you throw an interception? And I look back, and he's got an interception in the Tennessee game. That game was 3 days ago. What? I didn't know. I left where I was sitting with like 3 minutes to go in regulation. And I've got to leave the stadium, walk through the parking lot, and go into the athletic administration building to do the postgame show. And I'm texting Haldane, who is our producer for the show, and when the game ends, that gives us our out time for the postgame show when we're done. And I'm texting him like I'm taking the ramps down the Tiger Stadium. Let me know what the out time is. So he did. He let me know what the out time was. I missed the interception. I didn't even know it happened, and it's Tuesday. It's 3 days later. I had no idea he threw an interception. So I went back, found the highlights. Looked like a little fade route to Malik, and the Tennessee kid made a really good play on it. But I had no idea that happened. So nice job covering the team, Hunt. Way to
go. Look, you can't get faulted too much. They got post-game duties to do. But, yeah, no, I was standing literally probably 5 feet from that, just going down the field before we went into the presser. And, yeah, I was kind of happy. I'm like, take that monkey off of Jaden's back. I know that 0, that goose tag. It's just something in sports. Everyone loves the undefeated boxer, the undefeated team, the magical. Look.
Well, Hendon Hooker's got it. He's got the magical no interceptions. Jaden can leave that where it is.
Yeah, let that ship sail. You got to put the ball in harm's way a little bit. I love that he gave Malik a chance to make a play. Sometimes you're not going to come down with those, but I think if this passing attack is going to get out of the droves of being at the bottom of the SEC, you got to continue to give these guys one-on-one opportunities. That's what you saw Hendon Hooker do in this game. Pour some PIs calls, got that big touchdown pass down the sideline. You just have to make those throws down the field if you want to have a respectable passing game. So, yes, thank you, Jaden, for getting that off your back. Hopefully we can see a little more one-on-one matchups.
So he did not make enough throws down the field in the game against Tennessee. I did think there were a few times where you could see in his brain going, this is one of the ones I'm supposed to throw, and then he would throw it. And it wasn't pretty and it wasn't efficient. But as far as for me, the question I asked you, my answer to it is as far as what do I think can get better, I'm struggling with the running game because you've got a host of running backs who have not been uber productive in their college careers. No, Kane was fine his freshman year. Emory's had a flash here or there, but nothing significant in the running game, and I just don't trust this offensive line with the injuries they've had, with the youth they've got at tackles. Like, I think it's going to be a fight most days with those guys. I know that Kayshawn and Malik and Jack and Brian Thomas is emerging and becoming what he can be, and we know what Jure is. Like, I think there's a reasonable chance that whether it's against Arkansas, against Florida, A&M, one of these games, LSU's passing attack's going to hit some plays. I don't think they're going to flip a switch and be really good for the last 2 months. But I think there's going to be a game here or there where Jaden kind of gets comfortable, feels pretty good. You've got the defense on their heels a little bit. Maybe Kayshawn just rips one off and makes 2 guys miss and scores, or Malik goes up and makes a huge play on a 40-yard jump ball. Like, I think there's enough talent at wide receiver, and I think you're okay. I think it's reasonable as an LSU fan to go, I was told there's all these guys who are great at wide receiver. Why can't we throw the ball at all? Like, I don't think that's totally unreasonable. I think they should be able to throw it a little bit more, but I do still believe those guys can play. So I think, maybe once or twice throughout the rest of the way, you find a way to make some plays. You were so far behind the 8 ball on Saturday, and it just never got any better.
Yeah, it's tough, and that's why we kind of talked about starting fast so much in that game. Once people say, yeah, run the ball. Dude, you're down 3 possessions. Like, what do you think running is going to do at this point in the game? So you got to start faster. But, yeah, I do agree with you there. I think especially against some of these opponents, these receivers are just too talented. I know that drops are going to get talked about a ton, but there's just too much talent in that room to think these guys are going to continue to go through the season 5 yards of completion, 6 yards of completion. That's just not the talent you have in the room. So, we'll see what happens going forward. I mean, last year it shocked me out of my mind, that Florida game, rushed them out of the stadium. Yeah. That kind of happened when you
never would have thought that was coming.
Yeah, you just never thought that would happen. So, yeah, we'll see with this past game. I think as the season goes on, especially with Jaden kind of getting that interception out of the way, maybe he's more inclined to realize, hey, like, doing what I'm doing, like, yeah, we're in some of these games, but we're not really scoring enough. Like, I got to give these guys a chance, and maybe that light bulb clicks because he can throw a good deep ball. It's just a matter of him going out there and doing it.
All right, that's our look there at the offensive stats. We'll ask Glenn West what he thinks at 1:30. Glenn with Go 247 covers the Tigers, so we'll chat with him. I want to talk special teams at the top of the next hour as well. But when we come back, the NFL's got a significant issue, but in my opinion, it's really not the one that everyone is discussing from last night. We'll tell you what I think next. It's Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
Reliable Roofing and Construction, ReliableRoofingBR.com, on Instagram at Reliable Roofing LLC.
Yeah, so happy to tell you guys about Reliable Roofing, a family-run, owned, and operated residential roofing company. They've been in business since 2008 with over 30 years of roofing experience.
A lot of pink inside Tiger Stadium back on Saturday, October, obviously Breast Care Awareness Month, and Reliable Roofing is getting in on that, and they're going to give you $1,000 off a roof replacement. No catch, no stipulations you got to meet. It's just $1,000 off this month for breast cancer awareness. You need an inspection. If you need a repair, if you need a replacement, Reliable Roofing and Construction is your spot. Lionel Hayes and his son Jared, born and raised in Baton Rouge, love serving the Baton Rouge community. Not a company that's flying in here, try to take advantage of a little storm and then head on out. Nope, they're going to be here. And Lionel's going to visit every single site his teams work on. So when you commission them to come work on your house, Lionel is going to show up. You'll get the highest quality of shingle, get a 5-year labor warranty, all with Reliable Roofing and Construction. Check out the website, ReliableRoofingBR.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7, The Tiger.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
ITI's got all these programs. Once I started and learned everything about the school, it was worth it.
The challenges that ITI presented me with, it allowed me to build myself up.
All because of ITI, I actually was able to get a job within 3 months before graduation in my field.
Get the hands-on training you need for the job you've always wanted. With so many companies hiring right now, it's the perfect time to come to ITI Technical College. Enroll today for a better life.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite. Jimmy out and Mike Delicano for the Tuesday evening edition of Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers. We're at Mike Anderson's on Lee, just off of Nicholson. That's Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers, 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Glenn West in 13 minutes, maybe a little bit of baseball in 30 minutes. May or may not have gone and watched the guys over the weekend, so see if that shows up at the end of hour number 1. The NFL is, the massive amount of the talking last 2 days in the NFL has been about the roughing the passer calls. And so many people have said the NFL's got such a huge problem on their hands. Here's the problem. When you call Grady Jarrett for roughing the passer on Tom Brady in that instance, and then Chris Jones has a strip sack last night and you call roughing the passer, the problem is that these guys are blowing this call. Mm-hmm. They're just simply missed calls. I don't think any of the rules are terrible. Can't hit him in the head or neck area. Okay, that's fine. Can't hit him below the knee. It's not my favorite, but I get it. Okay, we'll live with that. Can't put all your body weight on him. Okay, we'll live. We can work on that. The game moves pretty fast, but we know the rules. Can't drive their head into the ground. Okay, we got that. None of those rules are egregious. But these officials are so shook by the fact that they might miss one, like the guy missed Tua. The replay review guy just missed the fact that he should have been out of the game. It's not the institution of the NFL and the rules they have in place. It's the people enforcing the rules. They're missing it every week. That's the problem.
Yeah, I think everyone to prepare their ears because everyone's going to hate this take. But I just got to be honest with you guys. I don't mind it at all. Let's keep these quarterbacks in the game. I know everyone's like, what are they supposed to do? Like, how do you get the quarterback to the ground? I don't want to watch NFL without elite quarterback play. I just don't want to see it. And I know it's a very, very difficult thing you're asking these 300-pound defensive linemen to do. Can't hit them high, can't hit them low, can't slam them, can't put your weight on them. There's nothing you can do. But I think with that Tua situation happening, they're going to be like on P's and Q's every single week. You touch a guy any single way. They're going to throw a flag on that. And I think they just want to have these quarterbacks out there. And I agree with the front offices, with the league. Like, we want to have our quarterbacks out there. So how do they kind of, do this delicate dance around this where you're still protecting these guys, but you're still allowing these guys to get pressure on the quarterback and get these sacks? That's a very difficult question to ask, but I'm always in the camp, man. I don't want to watch Chase Daniel versus Taysom Hill on Sunday. Like, I don't want to watch that. So who knows how they handle it going forward, but I just know it's something that they're going to have to figure out because they're going to protect these quarterbacks. It's a league. Like, you can't have an NFL without elite quarterbacks. That's 25 quarterbacks getting paid $25 million or more right now. So those are the guys you want to have playing on the Sunday. So how do they fix that? I don't know, but I just think – with the Tua situation, you're going to continue to see these flags thrown pretty quick here.
Okay, but I can't have the Chiefs are trailing this game. It's a division game, big one. Raiders are playing for their early season lives. Chiefs are likely going to be playing for home field. I got a game-changing play, a strip sack by a great player who plays the game perfectly. And not only do you take the strip sack off the board, which is far the biggest thing here, you also penalize them 15 yards. And then the Raiders kick a field goal. Like,
yeah.
I can't – that's the game. Like, I realize that you don't want to compromise it with injury. I can't compromise it because we can't enforce any of these rules. Like, that's a massive swing. Like, you could argue it's a 10-point swing.
Yeah, no, it's tough. And I think if Chris Jones falls on Derek the way he did and Derek separates his left shoulder and he's out the game, then you don't hear people complaining so much about it. They're going to say protect Derek Carr. Every Raider fan's going to be just angry as ever can be. They lost their quarterback. They already stinking the season up. So it's tough, man. It's like I don't really know what they can do at this point. Like, you're not going to bring back old school NFL. Like, I watched that cut up on Twitter. And it was showing like all the hits Tom took early on in his career when you could hit the quarterbacks. And that was pretty brutal what was going on. And there were no flags being thrown. Now I think it's just the exact opposite. It's like on a 10 now as far as protecting these guys. But I think my point is like I don't want to see these quarterbacks getting hurt. Like I just.
Can we review that one then?
Yeah.
I did it with the pass interference for a year and everybody hated it. This is probably more infrequent.
Yeah, no, I think you got to figure out something, whether it's reviewing it, because it's happening so fast. Like, you got to understand, like, it's easy when we're seeing 30 replays in slow motion. Like, oh, well, that's not this. Like, it's happening super fast, and you got 1 second to decide if you're going to throw a flag or not if you're the referee. I'm not saying they're getting them right or getting them wrong, but I think with that Tua situation, I know how the NFL is. Like, every week there's going to be some sort of emphasis. They're going to let every team know. You're going to walk in there Wednesday morning, hey, this is the emphasis the league's telling you. Like, you can't hit guys backside. You can't do this. You can't do that. And they're going to tell the referees that every single week. So I know once that Tua thing happened, it's just going to – that emphasis is going to be put on an all-time high level at 10. And they're going to do everything in their power to protect these quarterbacks. So it's just a tough job. Like, I'm glad I'm not a defensive lineman or a defensive tackle at this time because you work so hard just to get free and get to the quarterback. And now you get there and it's like, okay, like, what do I do now? Like, do I slam him? Do I just wrap him up? Do I, strip the ball? Like, how do I get this guy on the ground? But I think it still goes back to they want to have these quarterbacks playing week in and week out because NFL is not going to be the NFL if you got a bunch of backups playing. It's just the brand and the level of play. I mean, we just saw a sleeper last Thursday, no touchdown score. Like, no one wants to watch that week in and week out. So we'll see. I just think right now that you're going to continue to see these roughing the passers. Like, that. This is what's going to be for the rest of the season.
All right, let's go to the game last night. One on the field, one off the field. Raiders scored a touchdown to go down one, just north of 4 minutes to play. They go for two in that instance.
Hated
Your
it.
thoughts?
Hated it. If there was, 20 seconds on the clock, maybe even 30, 40 seconds on the clock, I'd be fully behind that. I'm like, you're going for the win. You believe in your squad, go for it. Even if you get that, let's say you got it. Yeah, boom, we got the two-point conversion. There's still so much time on the clock left. They don't even have to score a touchdown. You still kick a field goal and you lose the game. There's just way too much time left in the game for you to think that two-point conversion was going to win you the game. So didn't love it, and I thought, that really cost them. I hate to put it on one play, but I think, in that situation, they got to stop that next drive. So, I mean, it's easy to put one and one together, but I just think you kind of put your team behind the eight ball there because there's just way too much time on the clock to be going for two right there.
When I support it when you're the lesser team, which far more often happens in college football than it does in the NFL. It's easier, in my opinion, to determine that Texas A&M is the lesser team to Alabama, that Mississippi State is the lesser team to Alabama, that in Saturday's case, that LSU is a lesser team to Tennessee than it is week in and week out in most NFL matchups. Would I pick the Chiefs to beat the Raiders? Yeah, I would. Did the Raiders throw the first punch last week? And do they have a guy who can make Pro Bowls at quarterback and one of the best wide receivers in the league? Yeah, so it's just, in that instance, it's harder to sell me that, yeah, we're definitely the inferior team. We got to try our one chance to win it here. But I still don't hate being aggressive there. 2 yards to go. You put yourself in a really good position if you get it. And you feel like you still may get the ball back even if you do go down and let them score. I'm a little bit more indifferent than hate it or like it, but I kind of liked it. I mean, I don't have a strong feeling towards it. I certainly understand everything that you're trying to say there. But I didn't despise the call. It just didn't execute and run it in. And then after the game, Devontae Adams shoves what looks to be a cameraman to me, knocks him to the ground. Now apparently the guy's checked into a hospital and is planning to sue. That seems to likely a little bit of theater, but you cannot have your players shoving guys who really didn't even pose a threat. He just accidentally walked in front of him, and Devontae Adams just shoved it right there. It's just, you can't do that. I mean, he's going to get fined significantly. If they wanted to throw a suspension on him, I wouldn't even get mad at that if it's one game, because there's a lot of guys down there doing a lot of jobs, and if one of them attacks you, you can absolutely defend yourself. But just shoving a guy to the ground who's running around trying to get a camera shot or something, I don't know. You just can't have it.
Yeah, and sometimes when emotions are high, logic is low, and I thought that was a full display of that for Devontae. I think he was just super frustrated. He had opportunity to win his team the game on that sideline pass, didn't get his feet down, and then you lose the game the way you did. And then obviously after the game, you're just not going to be in the greatest mood. But still, with all that being said, I'm going to catch. Just don't put your hands on people. Like, it's just I know how frustrating it is to lose a game. Like, your team, like you're running for, only 7 teams have made the playoffs with that record. So
I'm glad he cares that much. You just can't do that.
Yeah, you can't do that. And I think if he would have just kind of maybe put his hands on him and say, just kind of move out of the way, but like pushing him down, I thought that was just way too much. And then obviously now he's getting, charges pressed on him today. I'm sure there's going to be a lovely civil lawsuit on top of that, plus the suspension and the fine money he's going to have to play for missing a game too. So I think he'll learn his lesson from this. I think it's a lesson for everyone in the NFL to kind of learn, like, let's do it. And I know the Bobby Wagner situation kind of opened the world up, like, yeah, we can do this. Like, but that's just a totally different situation going on. So for Devontae, he apologized, but I think it's definitely not the end of it for him. There's going to be a little more hammer laid down on Devontae.
Yeah, too many guys out there on the field to set a precedent of, oh yeah, you just let your frustration get the best of you. We understand. Please give us $20,000. Like, you gotta set a precedent here when you're doing things to people that are not provoking you. He was just accidentally in the wrong spot at the wrong time. So, can't have that going on. LSU special teams talk at 2:00. Gonna chat with Sharif Ishak at 2:30. Glenn West from Go 247 with us next. It's Hunt and Hill.
Hold down the middle of the day. This is Hunt and Hill.
Football season is underway, so now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just sign with promo code 1045 ESPN.
The college slate is absolutely loaded. 6 games this week between ranked teams. You want to get in on the action, you can do so at FanDuel. Got your favorite bets from the money line to point spreads. You can live bet while you're watching a game if you want to do that. The odds change consistently. I'm looking at my phone right now, and we got MLB baseball on, and the lines are changing routinely on the FanDuel Sportsbook. So you see something you like, you can go ahead and jump on it. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Sign up today with the promo code 1045ESPN for your no sweat first bet. That's promo code 1045ESPN. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager only. Refund issues and non-withdrawable free bets. Expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. You're somebody knows a gambling problem and wants help. Call 1-877-770-STOP.
Professional golfers John Peterson and JJ Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. Download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Kids have staked out their place at Ochsner Medical Complex The Grove. where more than 30 pediatricians and pediatric specialists are all conveniently located under one roof, so you can spend less time driving and more time keeping your kids well. Yes! It's no wonder kids call dibs at the Grove. Oxtra Health Center for Children.
Shop, Order curbside pickup online or with Rouse's Market Shopping app and let Rouse's personal shopper shop for you. Curbside pickup is free and you pay the same price for groceries as in-store. Use code SAINTS20 and save $20 on orders of $100 or more. That's curbside convenience. Shopper style.
Oh, yeah!
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate today at revelryteam.com. Revelry Sports, the official tailgate partner of LSU Athletics.
Week 7 in the prep football season, and we get started Friday night at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview, presented by the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Catholic Eye and Central kick off at 7, and that's immediately followed by the Lake Urgent Care Lake After Hours Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show on YouTube, Your View, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hope your Tuesday is getting along great. If you're looking for something to do this evening, Pluckers Sports Trivia. We'll be watching some playoff baseball, playing some sports trivia, 8:30 at the Nicholson location. Come on out, have something cold to drink, something good to eat, watch some baseball, win some gift cards. Always a good time out there at Pluckers. We'll head out to the phone lines now. Joined by Glenn West, Go 247. Glenn, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you?
Doing very well. Man, the air came out of the balloon pretty quick there on Saturday, and Tigers never really pushed back. Your thoughts overall on the loss to Tennessee?
Yeah, it was a bit of a bummer for the most of the game there. I did get a chance to meet Jeremy though after the game. I hope that my hype lived up to the hype, man. It was nice meeting you though. I guess just kind of some overall thoughts though. I mean, defensively, I think there's now 2 weeks in a row where you can say there's been some hiccups in the secondary. It was definitely a lot of coverage, one-on-one opportunities that LSU missed out on. I think just to be quite honest, I don't really know how else to put it other than they got outplayed and outcoached in pretty much every phase. And when you spot a team like Tennessee 10 points right out the gate, it certainly let the air out of the stadium, and you could just tell it was probably going to be in for one of those long days in Tiger Stadium. But, just a lot of improvements to make here. The Coach Kelly really the last couple pressers has said we've got to coach better. That's certainly true, but they also need to get some execution under wraps. And I think that was probably the biggest thing that when LSU had opportunities early in the game to kind of match Tennessee and match some of their offensive prowess, they just weren't able to execute in those situations.
What's the identity of this offense?
I'm searching for one, and I'm sure you guys are too. I mean, I think the identity they were hoping for was some balance, in terms of the run in the past and being able to have a guy like Jaden Daniels who could escape the pocket, escape some of the maybe inefficiencies you would get up front with the O-line. But it's been rough. I mean, look, you get the run game going a little bit against Auburn. You kind of feel like that might be a safety net for them in this game against Tennessee, and they go out and they rush for, I think, like 18 or 20 yards combined between the running backs. It just was not a efficient day for those guys at all. Early on in the game, they're trying to take those deep shots. They're trying to take them, and there's just nothing. I mean, they're just not executing the way that I think they need to, and it's just kind of back to the drawing board, I think, in a lot of sense, just because I just don't see an identity right now with this group.
How shocked would you be if Harold Perkins plays the same amount of snaps this week as he did last week?
Very shocked. I mean, I'm going to take Coach Kelly at his word and say that they're going to have a much more disciplined game plan for him. He kind of went into it a little bit yesterday. Don't need to rehash all of that, but it just sounds like this is going to be a game for Perkins to really thrive in. They really like what he'll be able to do in terms of potentially being a spire. I think for Anthony Richardson, a guy who can kind of come in and mess some stuff up on defense, and I think that's really what they need out of him.
Chatting with Glenn West of Go247, joins us every Tuesday here on Hunt and Hill. I'll stick with the offense. How are they going to shuffle this offensive line around, and what's the update on Will Campbell as far as his availability moving forward?
So I mean, Campbell, obviously a really scary situation that developed late last week. Sounds like he was released from the hospital on Monday. But if you're having a whole weekend full of tests, I wouldn't put it up on the bulletin board that he's going to be pegged in as a starter this week. I mean, I just don't see it. But I think they're going to have to shift some stuff around. You're going to see another offensive line rotation here. I think they'd like to keep Anthony Bradford in at guard, but if you do that, what do you do at left tackle now? I mean, there's just some really interesting possibilities here. I would expect probably Miles Frazier to shift around a little bit. Maybe you could see him at tackle a little bit. But they're just going to have to really dig deep and try to find some guys that can give them some consistent reps along the O-line, and it's going to be a process. Coach Kelly said that on Monday.
Do you think it's going to be an emphasis this week to kind of get the vertical passing game unlocked, or do you think we're going to kind of see more of what we kind of seen all season, kind of getting the ball out quick on these hitch routes and kind of some of these slant routes?
Yeah, I mean, they tried to really get the vertical route going against Tennessee, and it just wasn't being executed the right way. I mean, I think I'm kind of getting to the point in this offense where you really have to lean into what Jaden Daniels does best, and what he's been doing is obviously running the ball. He's been looking at his first couple reads and making those decisions quickly. He's not doing a whole lot in terms of looking at third, fourth, fifth options in a play. And I think you really have to lean into what he does well against a team like Florida. Coach Kelly mentioned playing some more 7-man protections. That obviously eliminates another threat, another weapon you could potentially have out on the field. But that also might play into what Jaden does really well. So maybe you see some more 7-man protection. Maybe they try to get some more running lanes opened up early in the game. But there's no doubt that I think you just really, this team is what it is at this point. I'm not sure how many more in-season adjustments you can make that are significant, and I think you just have to lean into what these guys do best.
In your opinion, and in one of these games, will the offense, maybe it's just for 3 hours like the Florida game last year, which nobody can really explain, do you think they'll break out in a game here or there? Or this is just kind of going to be what they are, and they're going to try to have to lean on the defense and win 24-20?
Sure. I mean, absolutely. I think that's absolutely the game plan you need to have. I mean, you look at some of the guys that just haven't been able to get going, whether it's Kayshawn or Malik or Jack Besh. There's just been some really inconsistent, in terms of getting the weapons going here on offense. And I think you have to really, like I said, just lean into what you do best. And I think their best option right now is for defensively, try to make some plays, get Florida's offense off the field quickly, and really lean into Jaden's running ability, his mobility, and just try to get the offense moving and moving the sticks. Because I mean, like what we saw against Tennessee was they were able to get inside, in between the 20s. But once they got into scoring position against Tennessee, they just weren't able to convert. And so you got to have some more discipline in those third and fourth downs. You got to be a little bit more, aggressive when you're play calling or down by the red zone. But you've got to do all that while also understanding that, you are what you are as an offense, and there really isn't a whole lot you can do schematically to change what you're doing as a whole.
Obviously, going against Power 5 opponents, this offense has really struggled in the first and most of the second quarter to score touchdowns. Talking to this coaching staff, do you think they've put a nail on kind of what's been going on and what's kind of slowed this offense to start football games?
I don't think that they have. I mean, that was one of the first questions posed to Coach Kelly after the game and also on Monday, and he hasn't really pinned anything down. I think he's using the typical coach speak of we just got to coach them better and we got to just be disciplined in our preparation, and I think it really just comes down to execution. I think you can nitpick the play calling as much as you want, but I think also at the end of the day, you just got to go out there and execute. You've got to hit those 8 to 10 yard routes a little bit more efficiently. You've got to get some 4, 5, 6 yard runs on first down. You can't be in second and long, third and long situations because of penalties that are holding you back. I mean, there's just a lot of inefficiencies right now with this offense that they have to overcome. And Florida's a team that you can have some success with, but you got to be disciplined and you got to be able to execute.
Do you expect Garrett Nussmeier to have a role in this team moving forward, barring an injury?
It's a good question. I mean, at some point in the season, I think we all expected Nussmeier to maybe get a shot. I think if LSU continues to slide, if they lose another couple games, then what's the harm in throwing Nussmeier out there? I mean, if you're sitting after Alabama and you're at 500, a game below 500, what's the harm in getting some of the young guys some more opportunities? And so I think that's certainly a path that LSU could take down the stretch, but I don't think they're there yet.
Glenn, thanks so much for your time.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Glenn West, go 247. Follow him on Twitter as well. I think most of us are kind of on the same page here. It's just it's an offense that's very limited, and you can try to tweak something here or there, but thinking that it's going to be drastically different at any point over the next 2 months is probably a little bit ambitious. So we appreciate Glenn for jumping aboard. We'll talk about LSU special teams coming up at 2 o'clock. Close out the hour, might be a little bit of baseball.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
LWCC is Louisiana Loyal, celebrating champions of Louisiana every single month here on Hunt and Hill. This month, we're telling you about Fresh Junkie Racing.
Yeah, Fresh Junkie Racing is a group of racing enthusiasts that have taken their love of running and built a business providing citizens across the state a way to get moving and stay moving. Created by athletes for athletes, Fresh Junkie Racing hosts world-class road racing events and triathlons right here in Louisiana, welcoming crowds from across the globe to this place we call home.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge economic impact that Fresh Junkie is having. Just the Louisiana Marathon alone, $5.2 million to our state here in Louisiana. If you're looking for upcoming races with Fresh Junkie, coming up Saturday, October the 15th at 8 a.m., the Huey P. Long Bridge Run. Baton Rouge Turkey Trot, Tammany Turkey Trot coming up on Thanksgiving morning. Both of those get underway at 8 o'clock a.m. Fresh Junkie helping people out by staying healthy, also helping the economy out by giving a ton back to our great state. That's why they are a champion of Louisiana, presented by LWCC. LWCC is Louisiana Loyal.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I am Juliette, daughter of Marguerite, granddaughter of Gabriel Piera. I come from a line of strong women who knew struggle and success too. Still, I was scared by my breast cancer diagnosis. But I had Blue Cross coverage, which meant I got care from top doctors. I'm strong like my mother, and her mother before her. The right card, the right care.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Here, Tuesday edition of Hunt and Hill. Got a chance to head out to the box, catch a little baseball on Thursday of last week. I did a little digging as well and cover a few things here. Saw Paul Skeens pitch on Thursday, and it's good. He is every bit of 6'6". It's a little bit of a 3/4 arm slot, but he throws pretty hard. He was consistently 96 to 98. They've got the pitch speed to the second decimal up there. So you're getting a TrackMan look at it basically. And he was 96 to 98 for 3 innings. There's nothing that comes out of his hand that goes straight. It's a hard running sinking fastball at 96, which is really impressive. And the slider's a little bit sweepy for me, but it was good. And I think there's every reason to believe that Paul Skeens will be a weekend starter. It would probably make sense to throw him on Sunday so that he can rest and recuperate and let him hit the first 2 days of the series. But that kind of depends on what Jay Johnson wants to do with him. But Skeens looks pretty good, Jeremy.
Yeah, man, he has a different type of glow to him. You see him talking, you see him, smiling in Baton Rouge right now. I guess that's Beats kind of, doing service duty for the Air Force Academy. So, yeah, it's just a different time for him, and he knows the opportunity he's going to have. If he has a big-time season, you're going to see those guys from above, knocking on his door, getting those calls, and I think it's just a great situation for him. So, yeah, I'm excited for him. I mean, you can't miss him, obviously. He's probably the biggest kid you see out there, but the talent is there, and I'm excited to see him kind of play for the Tigers this season.
Yeah, he struck Dylan Cruz out with the slider. Josh Pearson got him for a home run, but he looked good in his 3 innings. A lot's been made of what positions guys are going to play, and it's way, way too early for any sort of conjecture on what it's going to look like on opening day or certainly, into SEC play. But I will tell you this. The staff right now really likes what they've seen early from Tommy White at third base defensively. They think he can handle that position for him. And while it wouldn't surprise me at all to see Trey Morgan go out into the outfield here or there in the fall, he's very, very likely going to be your first baseman. I think there was a thought to moving some pieces around here, but I think Tommy White has acquitted himself nicely early on, not even in the 3 scrimmages they've had. I'm talking about in fall workouts, just kind of seeing what kind of infielder he could be. It looks like he can play third base, which settles Morgan in at first base, and then you sort of look to the outfield to maybe plug some guys in, whether that's Paxton Kling or whoever it may be.
Yeah, and we kind of saw the talent of Trey, even with one leg last season. And listening to Jay, he says, and Trey's back healthy again, which I think is a huge spot for this team. You got a guy who can get on the bases, steal some bases. Obviously, the runner, he turns singles into doubles, and then we know the defensive first baseman that he is. So I think it kind of rounds that infield out in an infield that you feel really, really great, about when you look at Thompson at shortstop. Who knows what they're going to do at second base? But you're looking at the first baseman, second baseman, third base. Well, first baseman, shortstop, and third baseman. It looks like really talented, college baseball players. So I'm excited for this team going forward. Like, I get so much more sleep at night when I think about this baseball team. So yeah, I'm just
better than
pumped
the
for
football offense, which we're going to get back to here pretty shortly.
Man. Look, can we just talk about baseball for another second?
No, we're going to talk about special teams at the top of the hour too. But I do have a few more things to get to. Catcher. A lot of people want to talk about catcher. The staff's going to look at 4 guys, and you may have 4 guys start at catcher in the first 3 weeks of the season because they want to see all of them. They believe in these guys. They believe in Alex Milazzo defensively being as good as he can be, especially when you've got a staff full of guys throwing 97 miles an hour with wipeout stuff. I mean, look, I was out there on Thursday. They hit 7 home runs and had 3 different guys hit 98 miles an hour. It's a joke how much talent's out there. But if you got a staff full of wipeout stuff, Milazzo is going to absolutely get a look. They like Hayden Travinski. They think if healthy, which he has not been in 3 years for a full season, he can absolutely give you a boost. He had a home run on Thursday. He can help you a ton. Brady Neal hit 2 home runs on Thursday. Is a good defensive catcher, and they're going to give him a look. And look, Jared Jones is a big guy who moves pretty well, and I think they're going to give him a look at catcher as well. So they're not going to play 4 catchers in a given weekend in May, but early on, they're going to get a lot of guys at bats at catcher. And last year when you were trying and scrapping and clawing, have anybody could go back there because Milazzo got hurt, and then Travinski was hurt, and you had McManus. You were trying to figure out who could go back there. Now you may have, if everyone can stay healthy, and that's a big if, 3 guys, 4 guys who can go back there.
Look, I'm always into shiny new toys, and Brady Neal just kind of gets me going a little bit. I kind of like that kid a little bit. So we'll see. I know Jay's going to give these guys opportunities, especially kind of the guys who have a little more seniority on the team. And we've kind of talked about it before this even thing came around. Like, these are great problems to have if you're a manager. You got 4 different guys you can go to, and obviously we know how long the season goes. Give those guys opportunities to play, who has the hottest bat, who's kind of defending the plate the best, and kind of let that guy kind of take over the realms. But I think, looking forward, I want to see me some Brady, man. That kid has some talent right there.
Thatcher Hurd is the last guy I want to talk about here. He's somebody that I get a lot of questions about, and I can tell you that he feels really good. They are going to take him very slow in the fall. And it's probably going to be a ramp-up of sorts in the spring as well. But you saw a lot of guys go 3 innings this weekend that got their first time out there. Hurd pitched 1. That's not because he's hurt or he's uncomfortable. He feels good. They just got to build him up, and it may be an inning at a time for a while. Maybe 2 innings at the back of the fall, maybe 3 innings by the time they're done with the fall. But then you've got a layoff there of a few weeks before you come back to school, and then a couple more weeks until you start getting prepped for the season. So it's just going to go slow. And from what I was told, it's not a deal where he's in any sort of significant pain at all. In fact, the opposite. He feels very good, but they're not going to rush it. Back injury, never something you want to deal with. And for those who aren't familiar, Thatcher Hurd, elite stuff from UCLA, was awesome when he moved into a starting role for them for a couple of weeks and then had a significant setback and injury to his lower back with some stress reactions and stuff. So he was shut down for the rest of the year. They're going to move him pretty slow.
Yeah, no, I think it's not. We're talking about fall baseball right now, and I know there's a lot of shiny toys out there. We got my man Cruz out there, Tommy Tanks hitting bombs. It's just all great stuff. But I think for Thatcher, you take your time. I think for me, I want to see him as the Friday night guy, and the best way you ruin that is try to rush him back from a serious injury. Like, you watch that kid's tape, you just type his name in on YouTube, and you watch some of the stuff he can pitch. he's a very, very talented guy, and I think this team is really going to be dependent on him going forward. So take his time. There's a great strength and conditioning staff. My boy Travis Roy, Redemptress Wolves in the house, heading that staff. So they're going to take their time with him, and I want to see him really come back to full health before you kind of see him on the bump. And when you do, you're going to see some nasty, nasty stuff coming from that kid. So, yeah, take your time with him, and I definitely think he can walk into that Friday night role.
Yep, Thatcher Hurd, 94, 96 when he's out there. Skeens, 96, 98. Cole Taylor was not every time I do that. Grant Taylor. Cole Taylor, tight end. Grant Taylor, pitcher. Grant Taylor was throwing 97 miles an hour when on Thursday when we were out there. You had it kind of took some people off guard, but when you tried a freshman out there that was not thought of, really highly in the draft with Aiden Moffett, and he hits 99 miles an hour on the gun, it gets some attention. And Aiden Moffett hit 99 miles an hour. It's a lot of talent out there on the baseball field, both on the mound and at the dish. So maybe once a week, sprinkle in 5 or 8 minutes of baseball talk as we did right there. For those that don't want that optimistic baseball look, you want to dive back into the issues here. Special teams talk is coming up to kick off hour number 1. If you missed hour number 2, you missed any of hour number 1, catch it on demand. 1045ESPN.com, on Apple Podcast, on Spotify, or on YouTube. We will get to that for you. Sharif Ishak with us coming up at 2:30 talking Saints. He's going to be salty about the Bengals. SportsCenter, and we're coming back for hour 2. It's Hunt and Hill.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
3 people walk into a bar. The first 2 order the same old margs. The third, Nuevo Topo Chico Margarita Hard Seltzer. Crafted with real lime juice and a crisp tequila flavor. Topo Chico Margarita Hard Seltzer.
As a community bank, B1 Bank invests in relationships with the people and businesses we proudly represent. Our B1 bankers are here to help simplify the complicated, understand your needs, and make managing your finances easier. At B1 Bank, we offer an array of solutions to help simplify your transaction needs. B1 Bank, one highly personal banking experience. Visit us online at b1bank.com for more information.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ITI's got all these programs. Once I started and learned everything about the school, it was worth it.
The challenges that ITI presented me with, it allowed me to build myself up.
All because of ITI, I actually was able to get a job within 3 months before graduation in my field.
Get the hands-on training you need for the job you've always wanted. With so many companies hiring right now, it's the perfect time to come to ITI Technical College. Enroll today for a better life.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This is SportsCenter.
Hello there. I'm Mark Robbins. Major League Baseball's divisional series begin today. All 4 of them, in fact. One already underway in Atlanta. And the runs are coming on the board for the Phillies. How about bottom of the 4th? It is 6-1. Philadelphia. Max Fried, the Atlanta starter, couldn't get through 4 innings. Nick Castellanos with 3 hits and 3 RBI so far for the Phillies, who had that 5-run lead in the 4th. You can catch the rest of this one on ESPN Radio, of course, on every game ESPN through the postseason and the World Series. Every game on ESPN Radio. Game 1 between Houston and Seattle, in fact, begins at 3:30 Eastern. Dodgers and the Padres begin their series later on. Dodgers leaving 8-time All-Star closer Craig Kimbrell off their NLDS roster. Raiders receiver Devontae Adams has apologized to a freelance member of ESPN's Monday Night Football crew for pushing him to the ground at the end last night. Will face disciplinary action from the NFL.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
If the rule states you can't, under any circumstances, tackle the quarterback with full body weight, then the issue is not with the refs, the issue is with the rule.
This and more. Wednesday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2.
1, 2, 3. Hunt and Hill. Tom Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hour 2, Tuesday edition of Hunt and Hill. Coming at you here, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, downtown in the capital city. Probably just heard right there on SportsCenter. But Philadelphia has jumped out on Atlanta 6-1 in the bottom of the 4th inning in Game 1 of the NLDS over at Truist Park in the ATL. All right, Jeremy, let's talk about special teams. A lot of discussion on my post-game show, on y'all's post-game show, on Whiskey and Wine with Moscone and T-Bob, about the special teams and about Brian Polian, who is the head coach of the special teams unit, I guess the assistant coach, the coordinator for the special teams unit. And the special teams has been terrible. I don't know another way to put it. They've been bad in every facet. They've been bad in terms of turnovers. They've been bad in terms of penalties. They've been bad in terms of field position. They've been bad in game-deciding plays. They've been bad just about every way you can be bad. So, ultimately, that falls at the coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you go first in terms of what you think about this unit's performance through 6 games. But I've got my thoughts on the coaching of said unit when you're done.
Yeah, I think it's a two-edged sword because I know if I know Polian and the job he's done and just obviously his coaching pedigree, I know they're getting taught the right things. I know they're going through films, telling guys what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong, and they're going into these obviously each game with a game plan, and obviously they want to play well and do do things the right way. But I think it's also, too, on the players to go out there and execute that stuff. And I think on both sides, whether it's game planning and whether it's the players executing it just hasn't been connected, and they haven't been able to get on the same foot. So, obviously when guys are dropping punts and guys are jumping on punts that are falling short, like I know that it's nothing to do with the coach. Obviously they can work on that stuff more, but it's up to the players to go out there and execute. So I think also, too, in the kicking game, when your punter outkicks the coverage, I'm sure they're not getting taught that as well. And so you just give the returner so much space to operate and let those guys set their blocks up and things of that nature. So for whatever reason, it's just they haven't been in line, like Coach Kelly likes to say, properly to execute at a high enough level. And then obviously we know back to that Florida State game, letting guys run through, blocking kicks and all that stuff like that. That's just stuff that just can't ever happen. And so you would think, we've been talking about it since that Florida State game, like how do they fix that stuff? And, because it's going to really ail this team. It's just they haven't really been able to put a nail on it and kind of get this thing respectable. Not saying have the best special teams unit in the country, but some of these stuff, it's just bad football, and you have to eliminate bad football or you're going to lose football games. So we'll see going forward. I used to be a little more encouraged. I know it's against Southern and New Mexico. You had great special teams performances, but it seems like when you go against some of these Power 5 schools, it just hasn't been the level you need to execute at a high level, and, that loses you football games.
It would be very easy to get up here and rant and rave for 10 minutes about how LSU special teams are a joke. They're awful. They're costing them games, and the special teams coordinator should be fired because of the poor play. Like, that would be really easy radio. It would be fairly entertaining radio probably, because when you take an opinion, that's very far on one side, it's polarizing and it generates response. Simply said, I'm not going to do that because I don't believe it. I don't believe that to be the case. If you told me, okay, pick anybody LSU has on scholarship on the entire roster to go catch a punt or a kickoff, anybody, pick anybody. Two of the first 4 guys I'm going to give you are Malik Neighbors and Jack Besh. That's 2 of the first 4 guys to catch the ball. And sorry, at this level, I don't think catching the ball has much to do with coaching. You want to spend a little bit more time with your 3rd grade unit, they'll probably get a little bit better at catching the ball. I think you could probably work with them on that. In college, catch it. And Malik dropped 2 punts against Florida State, and Jack just flat whiffed one against Tennessee, and it was the worst thing that could have happened on that play. And that, to me, is not on the coach.
No, not at all.
Holding penalties. I guess I could go up there and coach that better, but the fact of the matter is that they know the rules. You can't block them in the back, and you can't grab their jerseys. I don't think Brian Polian is failing to coach blocking. I don't think Brian Polian is teaching them to grab people or hit them in the back. Yep. Now, you want to go as far as saying that LSU was not prepared and had breakdowns on the coaching side of things in terms of protecting the field goal kicker against Florida State? I'll listen to it. I don't know. I don't know what they were taught, and what Brian Kelly said after the game was we had a breakdown on the first field goal that got blocked, and we switched personnel for the end of the game when we ended up kicking the extra point, and it didn't get done. Okay, I don't know I'll listen to a side that says they were poorly coached there. Coverages. Here's my thought on this, and understand where I'm coming from here. I'm not at practice. One, I don't know how to cover punt. I don't know how to teach covering punts. I don't know how to teach that. So for me to point it out and say that he's wrong doing this or that, that's out of my league. And I don't know what he has taught. What I'm telling you is that when he was at Notre Dame, they were in the top 20 in kickoff and punt coverage. I highly doubt he taught it one way there, and he taught it a totally different way here, and they can't cover anybody. They probably taught it well and didn't execute it worth a flip. That's my educated guess. You played football. I mean, is it easier for you to assume that Polian has no idea how to coach punt and kickoff coverages? He taught them incorrectly, and that's why they stink on Saturdays. Or is it more likely he taught them to stay in your lanes, break down and tackle, and they've practiced tackling since August, and they've done a terrible job out on the field? Like, which more easy to believe?
I mean, like I said to start this segment, it's the players. They got to go out there and execute. You can draw up the most beautiful play. You can draw up the most, great thing. Get the defense in exactly what you want. Get the coverage in exactly what you want. If a guy misses a tackle, they break a couple tackles, they go score a touchdown. That's not on the coaches. The players have to go out there and execute. And I think when you talk about Malik dropping punt returns, you talk about Jack dropping a kick return, you talk about guys just running free on field goal block, you talk about the punter out kicking the coverage, you talk about on kickoff, kicking it out of bounds, kicking it on line drives. It's like, that's nothing to do with the coaches. I know what they're being taught. You see Coach Kelly, blowing a gasket on the sideline. They're getting taught the right things. It's just the players just have not executed at a high enough level. And I know that still goes back and falls on the coaches. Whatever they have to do to get these guys playing better and doing, maybe it's the talent, maybe it's just guys aren't locked in. Whatever it is, I really can't put a nail on why the special teams have just been so bad from the start of this season to where we are now, well into the season. But I have to agree with you. They're getting taught the right things. You can see, guys are in position to make plays. You can see, they switched Jack for a reason. Like, they knew that kickoff was going to go right to where they kicked it to. They got their best guys with their hands right there. It's just up to Jack to go up there and catch that ball. So, yeah, I got to agree. Polian knows what he's doing. There's no way you're a Power 5 SEC coordinator and you have absolutely no idea what's going on and, you just stink as a coach. I'm just not going to go there. But it does fall back on you, obviously, when it's not going well. You're going to get the blame. When it's going great, you're going to get a little credit for that. So it just has not been going well for this team for whatever reason. And, of course, it's going to fall back on the coordinator.
If you consistently have 12 or 13 guys out there and you're getting flagged for those penalties, or you're getting to delay a game on field goal because your guys aren't out there quickly enough, some of these things that the coaches have got to be prepared for and have their guys ready to roll, like that, I will point right to it. And again, if you want to tell me that they didn't do the right thing on those field goals against Florida State, the extra point, I can listen to that. Bash muffin a punt, man, like a kickoff. It's just like, I'm just not there for it. And it's an overwhelming amount of mistakes. I get that. I think the guys just aren't doing a great job. And I also can listen to the thought that, although I don't put as much stock into this, but there's something to it, that the lack of depth on this team, the fact that they only have 60-ish, 5-ish scholarships guys instead of 85, maybe you're hurting on special teams there for some guys that could spend more time working on that or being part of that unit, or fresher guys on that unit, or whatever the case may be. But you are where you are, because when you took the program over, you had 38 guys. Mm-hmm. Now you got 65 guys or 68 guys or whatever they got, and you just don't quite have the bullets on special teams, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, you got guys who are mostly playing. I mean, I see Penn out there. I see Weeks out there. I see Converse on kickoff. Perkins is on kickoff. So you got a lot of good guys that normally you're sitting in those defensive meetings, just focus on the defensive game plan for the week. Now you're throwing in all four special teams. Like, you got so many starters playing just every facet of special teams, and that's just for college kids who are 18, 19 years old. Sometimes it could be a lot on their plate when you're not trying to figure out what you're doing on defense, and then now you have all these special teams things who are it's just totally a different world when you're a special teams player and obviously an offensive or defensive player. So they got to figure this out. If you want to go forward and be competitive in these games, like I said, to start this week off, how you lose matters. You don't want to just go out there and just give away games, bad football after bad football. If you lose a game down to the wire, they kick a field goal, you walk off the field, you shake their hand, that's one thing. But just getting blown off the field because you can't catch a kick return, that's a whole different conversation.
The Rick 711 in the Bayou 4 chat says, Hunt, you're missing one other thing. Polian has input on who's covering kicks. Execution is needed, but the selection appears to be a part of it. And that all goes back into that point that we just made. Like, maybe there's some guys that are tired. Maybe you're limited on the talent that you got out. Like, I'm with you. You pick the guys who are supposed to be out there. And if you pick the wrong guys to be out there against Florida State on the kickoff, or if you had some guy that can't catch back there on punt and you continue to put him back there and he had muffed 6 by now, I'll put that right on the coach. Yeah. But Malik muffed a second one and they never put him back out there. I can't. Yeah. You had one bad game. Forgive me, I can't remember the walk-on's name who went
Clayton.
back there. Greg Clayton went back there and had a couple issues, and he never went back out there. So, and when you had the issue with the Florida State field goal stuff, you switch personnel in line too. Every time somebody makes a mistake, they're trying to put somebody else out there.
Yeah, and I can tell you one thing too, and it's like, And I talk about this all the time, guys. When the lights come on, it's just different. I'm sure when they had Clayton back there, he probably caught every single punt return in practice. The lights on. He probably caught every single kick return. And they're like, okay, we can trust this guy to do that. I'm sure Malik was catching every single punt return at practice, looked really great doing it back there. But sometimes when those lights come on, the pressure gets high. And then sometimes, it busts pipes, and that's just what you have to deal with as a head coach. So obviously you can only have hindsight 20/20 after the game when you've practiced week after week, day after day, and these guys are doing it well in practice. You put them out there in the game, and it's not anything like you saw. Obviously, it's going to make the head coach looks like he has no idea what he's doing. Why is that guy back there? But these guys are earning their spots for a reason. You can't go out there and practice, drop every single thing, and think you're going to be the starting returner for LSU. It just doesn't work that way. When lights come on, the players just have to execute a little better. I know the coaches have some say-so on that, but I just think the players have kind of let them down a little bit here with some of the stuff we saw, like the punt return where you're just jumping on it for no apparent reason. I just know that kind of stuff is just not being taught at all.
Joseph Claymore, last thing here before we get to break. Real question, why don't we try Kayshawn at kick punt returner? He's not getting enough on offense. Let him show off on special teams. It's dangerous back there.
Yeah, it's very dangerous. I mean, I would see a situation if a team's backed up on their goal line, they have to punt it as far as possible. Let them do that. But if it's backed up, you're sitting on the 10-yard line and all that stuff, like, no, get Jack back there, let him catch that. But I wouldn't mind seeing. I mean, we've seen Les kind of do that. Like, they just put the best guy back there and see what happens. And you've had some success doing that. So I'm not too mad at that, but I wouldn't make him the every single down punt return. No, I'm not a fan of that.
We'll take a timeout, come back with a little bit more. We'll have Sharif Ishak in 15 minutes. It's a Tuesday edition of Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
Bayou Ford, check out that inventory, BayouFord.com. All your new cars, all your used cars, all the information on that inventory you can find right at your fingertips at Bayou Ford. It's a new era of buying cars. They're not all on the lot, and all of them can be found online and even customized right there. 75% of the people who purchase a vehicle from Bayou Ford customize their vehicle. 50% never even set foot on the lot. That's the way things are done now, and Bayou Ford can do it for you. When you find that perfect vehicle that they can turn around in 60 to 90 days and it arrives, they'll deliver it right to your doorstep, and you'll have that brand new car. They also have a great buyback program in Bayou Ford. So if you're not thrilled with what you're in, you think you can cut into that down payment, into that note on the new vehicle, let them buy that car back from you over there at Bayou Ford.
Yeah, head over to BayouFord.com. They have the all-new 2002 Ford Expedition Timberline, tinted windows, ready to lift 3 kit on there. Also, all-new 2021 Ford F-150s. They're getting $14,000 off MSRP, including the Black Widow edition.
Every new purchase at Bayou Ford, 1 million mile powertrain warranty. For the life of that vehicle, you will have that warranty with you. Bayou Ford, check out the inventory, BayouFord.com. Bayou Ford, they're going to do right by you.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
We get it done with strength, commitment, dedication, grit.
We get it done with passion for our fans
and love for our community.
We are the Tigers.
Get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
Order curbside pickup online or with Rouse's Market Shopping app and let Rouse's personal shopper shop for you. Curbside pickup is free and you pay the same price for groceries as in-store. Use code SAINTS20 and save $20 on orders of $100 or more. That's curbside convenience. Shopper style.
Oh, yeah!
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
I'm Jay Ducote.
I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jdacody.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Got the old FanDuel Sportsbook out here and looking at national championship futures. And Ohio State, now the betting favorite at plus 190. Not a lot of return, as you would imagine, on Ohio State at plus 190, Georgia at plus 200, or Alabama at plus 220. However, there are some teams, as you start to trickle down the list, that I think could be worth a flyer if you're into a small bet that could pay you a little bit. This is recency bias on our part, and I'm well aware they went to Pittsburgh and went to overtime. And they got Bama this week, and they got Georgia coming up, and the odds are stacked against them a little bit in that way. But their defense may be playing a little bit better, and their quarterback is awesome. And he's going to give them a chance on Saturday and moving forward. Tennessee is plus 4,000. $25 bet to win $1,000.
Ooh, yeah, that's healthy odds right there. But I think if you're looking at that Tennessee program right now, they got the identity, and to me, that's the first part of when you want to start building something special. I think Georgia, they built theirs on great defense, recruiting well. Offense probably not blowing you off the field, but when you got that great defense, and then Saban just stocks it for 5 stars from top to bottom. Won't find a kicker, but you know how that goes. But I think Tennessee, looking at that offense any given Saturday, I just find it hard pressed. So you're going to stop them from scoring 30-plus points. It's just, I can't wait to see what defense does that and what strategies they use to get that done, because they go so fast. So, yeah, if I laid a little something down, I wouldn't mind laying it on that.
This is, these odds are going to change significantly if they win on Saturday. So this is the highest you're going to get them. Penn State is plus 8,000. They absolutely smoked Auburn. They haven't really been in a tight game. They may have sleptwalk a little bit through Northwestern. The Purdue game at the first of this year was tight. They came back and won it. But they got Michigan this week on the road. If they can find a way to win that, the only one they've got left that is against a ranked team is Ohio State. And depending on how things go, the SEC, if they can get some teams and knock some other teams off, Tennessee, Bama, and Georgia, to beat each other, and Ole Miss too to an extent, maybe they can sneak in with just one loss to Ohio State, even if they don't get into the championship game. Plus 8,000. That's significant. It's $50 to win $4,000 on a Penn State team that's undefeated right now and only has 2 ranked teams left on their schedule.
Yeah, it's just don't sit Clifford.
But if they win at Michigan, they're going to be plus 2,000 all of a sudden.
Yeah,
so,
but if there is now the time to do it, I think this is definitely a Pennsylvania native bet that they would lay down, just blindly, supporting their Nittany Lions. But I don't see them doing anything. I know they swamped Auburn. Like, we're looking at Auburn now. It's like, okay, buddy, like, not much. So I don't know if I can lay anything down. But if you're a Penn State fan, you're in the state of Pennsylvania, I wouldn't mind laying $50 on that.
Okay, let's see what I can do for you here. The last 2 weeks, they have beaten back-to-back ranked teams. They have another one coming on the road this week. Your odds are never going to get any better than this either. They only have one more ranked team on their schedule after this week. UCLA plus 6,000. They beat Utah 42-32. Listen to the point totals they've been putting up for Chip with DTR. 45 on Bowling Green, 45 on Alabama State, 32 on South Alabama. That was only a 1-point win. 45 on Colorado, 40 on Washington, 42 on Utah. 82 points over the last 2 weeks against ranked teams.
Oh, those are ranked teams, huh?
Yeah.
Super ranked. I guess, well, I got to give them credit. That Utah win, a lot of people were pumping Utah. A lot of people picked them to win the Pac-12, obviously represent them maybe in the college football playoffs. So for UCLA, they've been kind of pumping Chip Kelly. He's going to turn it around. He's going to turn it around. This is what that turnaround looks like. But I'm not laying anything on UCLA.
They're going to Alton Stadium to play Oregon this week.
Can't see it.
And just hypothetically, if they lose, who cares? That's the end of the discussion. But if they win, here's what they got left. Home game against Stanford, at Arizona State, who's already fired their coach, against Arizona, who's awful, and then you got a home game against, but it's a home game against USC, and then you go to Cal, who might drop football.
Look, the avenue's there. I mean, we know how just dominant that Pac-12 conference is, just world beaters.
No, they got to run the table. I'm well aware of that. You can't gimp around and not do it, but they've already jumped 2 of the hurdles.
Yeah, no, I think beating Utah was a huge, huge thing for them. Now that avenue's just got a lot better, but I don't know, man.
DTR, 27th year quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, they got Charbonnet. I know the Charbonnet's like burned into my mind, just rushing up and down the field on everybody.
Averaging 10 yards a carry against LSU. Super.
Yeah, but I still can't believe it. I just don't believe in Chip Kelly in that offense. I think they'll slip up, and if you slip up once in the Pac-12, you can say hasta la vista to your chances to get to the college football playoff.
Last one for you here, and we'll see if I can change your tune. Ole Miss Rebs, plus 8,000.
All right.
National chance, huh?
Okay.
You ready?
Okay. Now we're talking. Now we're talking about great play calling, great running game. Like, got to worry about the Grove a little bit. Would you take the Grove out of it? You got a little something. You're telling me what? Plus 8,000 on my man Lane. I may have to check
$50 for $4,000.
Yeah, I may have to check FanDuel out myself on that one because that may be something rolling right there. But
you're not going to bet on Ole Miss to win the national championship.
No. That Bama game is going to be tough for them. But honestly, looking at everyone else in the SEC West, I think they can beat just about everyone else. I mean, you look at Arkansas, you look at Mississippi State. I mean, you look at us, you look at some of the other teams in this conference. I think they can win those games. And then obviously that Kentucky win, which a lot of people probably felt like they had no chance of winning. That was a big-time win for them. But that Alabama game is going to be the tricky one. If Bryce Young wasn't playing, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just saw my man Haynes come into town and, have a little time, have a little fun there. So, but yeah, honestly, I don't think it's a crazy. I like that more than the UCLA one for sure. But I think, playing Alabama, that's going to be the tough one for them. Probably not going to get over that hump.
Here's what's coming. This week they're against Auburn and Oxford. Then they're at Baton Rouge the following week. Then they are at Texas A&M the following week. Then they've got their open date. And following the bye, they play Alabama in Oxford. Then they're at Arkansas, and they finish up with the Egg Bowl in Oxford, which that Egg Bowl could be a little spicy.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one.
I really enjoyed the Egg Bowl, especially on Thanksgiving Day. Thanksgiving night. You're full. You get the wine out. You got the cocktails going, and you just watch Ole Miss and Mississippi State hate each other. And you realize that sometimes the Iron Bowl hurts because you feel like you're rooting against a national championship type team. That's never the case in the Egg Bowl.
Yeah,
it's just watching pure hatred and no real consequence with the result. I love the Egg Bowl and its time slot on Thanksgiving.
No, it's definitely a fun one. It's the Mississippi schools. We're talking about the Mississippi schools here. Like, when's the last time they won the SEC? Either one of them. So, yeah, it's not much here, especially, looking at our past. Now it's like, man, these teams may finish with a better record than us. But I think, it's a game. Your belly's full with turkey and stuffing all day, and you get to watch some college football. Obviously, I would much rather it be in Oxford because those cowbells still just annoy the crap out of me. But
it is in Oxford this year.
Definitely got to tune into the Egg Bowl.
Shakers don't make as much noise as the cowbells, but they're going to be out at the Egg Bowl coming up. So there's just a look at a few. Had USC plus 2,000, another one I looked at there. You probably like that one more.
Yeah, I do. I mean, you look at Link. I mean, look at that Oklahoma offense. Like, you're talking about 1 year
50
removed.
50-0. That is.
You're talking about.
We've seen some rough football for 3 years here in Baton Rouge. 50-0. That's
And
Not fun.
And the biggest rivalry game of the season. That's what just makes it even worse. And it's a Texas defense. I mean, maybe
Texas just lost to Texas Tech.
Yes, exactly.
They're not that good.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, you look at Lincoln, that play calling, you definitely missed that. And then they got one of the best quarterbacks in all of football. And I love their wideouts, too. So, yeah, 2000, I'm not going to lay anything on it, but I wouldn't be mad because at Pac-12, they could probably run the table there and have a great chance to get to the playoff.
Host Mark Ramsey brings you bite-sized Hollywood history inside the new Drop Biscuit Studio podcast, You Talking to Me. You can listen, subscribe, or download today at dropbiscuit.com. All right, we're going to try to get under Sharif's skin in the next segment. We'll see how that goes. It's Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
Guys, if you're like me, the woman in your life is always talking about more or better closet space. I get it all the time. We're not really looking to move right now. Just had the baby. You don't have to move to upgrade your closet space. One Bath and Closets will do it for you. David Duvall, been in the business for 3 decades, redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. One Bath and Closets are licensed contractors. They can do everything from knocking out a wall and opening things up, or simply just help you use that space a little bit more efficiently. I'll start you with a questionnaire. How many shoes you got? What are we looking to do? What kind of suits do we got? They can help you out. Everybody's a little bit different in terms of their closet. But that's what they do at One Bath and Closets. You don't have to move to up and enjoy your home. You can just go ahead and have a remodel done to your current space. At One Bath and Closets, they're going to promise you they're not going to show up 2 weeks later because something broke down because they took shortcuts to try to get to the next job. That's not what David Duvall and his crew do. They're going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. That's One Bath and Closets. Check out their great work. Check out the testimonials. Check it all out at onebathandclosets.com. One Bath and Closets at onebathandclosets.com.
Professional golfers John Peterson and JJ Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. Download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance. This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
By now, you know, Saints and Bengals in New Orleans coming up on Sunday. I've partnered with the Bengal Booster Association, and we've rented out a bar on Poydras. I thought the nice thing I do, Sharif, I hadn't seen you in a while. I'd love you to stop by. Going to be about 20,000 of us hanging out in New Orleans in the French Quarter on Sunday. You want to come by?
No, not really. I don't really hang out with bandwagon fans.
I mean, okay. What do you think the Dome's going to look like on Sunday?
I know I just joke about the bandwagon thing. I would say most of the people in New Orleans and even Baton Rouge are Saints fans, and there's no real rivalry here. Everyone likes Joe. Everyone likes Jamar. And it's cool to pull for players that went to LSU. Man, they got a couple Saints players on there that, everyone in New Orleans still likes, and Von Bell and Trey Hendrickson. I mean, you're going to have the Burrow and Chase fans in the Dome, and that's cool. This isn't like Saints Falcons, Saints Cowboys, or Saints Buccaneers. I mean, there's no real hate here. I mean, they don't play every 4 years, and this is the first time, Joe and Jamar have been back. But I expect some fans to be there, of course. There are some New Orleans fans who are, Burrow and Chase fans, and I'm sure some people will be there wearing Burrow, Jamar, Bengals, or LSU jerseys. It's going to happen. There's no stopping that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a minimal deal. I know that Moscona's a little flustered by it, and you've been tweeting out some stuff. I think you're talking about like 400 people. I mean, like just not.
No, there'll be a little bit more than that. I mean,
that are actively rooting for the Bengals and not the Saints because they're such big LSU fans and they've purchased tickets to this game. I just don't think it's going to be that many.
No, I'm with you, man. It's an outlier. It really is. Like I said, dude, those guys did a lot. I went to LSU. I'm from New Orleans. I'm never going to ever have hate for LSU. So, those guys did a lot for the program in that one season. So it's an outlier. You're right. It may reach 500 to 1,000 at most.
Well, Saints got a win in the Dome on Sunday. Taysom obviously stole the show from a statistical and highlight standpoint. I thought the offense looked a little bit better. The defense wasn't at its best. But your thoughts first on the offense and if they've maybe found a little bit of something or that was just an outlier where Taysom was going nuts?
No, I think they might have found something. Now, is that going to work every single game anytime they play like a defense like Cincinnati's defense, who I don't think you're going to be able to do that against them during an entire game? No, but, I mean, you found a little something you can use in the offense. And I think moving forward, you're going to probably see a lot more of Taysom in that role where you might even add some more passes for him in that offense to, just throw the team off balance. And it worked. It looked good. And what else looked good is having Alvin healthy and rushing for more than 100 yards. And he's eaten the Seahawks defense alive in 3 games now, the last 3 games. So when you have him healthy and you can get Taysom rolling like that and, give Andy Dalton some support, it looks good. It really looks good. I still find it a little tough in the passing game. I need to see more in the passing game. And yes, I understand that, Olave is now in concussion protocols. I think Jarvis will be back. Mike, who knows when he comes back, he continues dealing with the toe. They just got to find some kind of consistency in the passing game. Traquan has to step up. Can't drop 2 passes like he did last week.
We saw Marshawn Lattimore matched up with an LSU receiver from 2019. Didn't go his way a little bit there. How do you feel about him potentially matching up with Jamar Chase this week?
Well, I hope the Saints, would feel great about him matching up if he's on the field. And, he got an abdominal injury on that last touchdown by Tyler Lockett. He, fell awkwardly on him because the secondary had an absolute bust. It was like he was playing safety back there, and he had to go back there and chase Lockett. And they said that Dennis Allen said yesterday, we'll see if he's ready to practice this week and his availability during practice. If they don't have him, it's going to be a long day for that secondary because with Tyler Lockett and Geno Smith did last week and some of the other receivers in that cast, that wasn't pretty. I mean, that was a banged-up secondary. I mean, it helped to have Marcus May back. Justin Evans just struggled. Tyron can only do so much. Adebo was getting burned, and some of it wasn't his fault. But if it's Jamar not going against Marshawn Lattimore, it's going to be a long, long day for that secondary.
I realize every single NFL team has injuries, and so to sit here and belabor the point is not exactly a worthwhile exercise. But it's just like feels like going back to Drew's last 2 years where he got hurt, and then you go back to losing your starting quarterback last year, and then this year it's like not just a couple of guys. It's Jarvis and Mike Thomas and Kamara. It's like it's your main guys. It seems frustrating. This continues to happen year over year to the Saints.
Yeah, hon, it just seems like they're snake bit. I mean, it feels like ever since they've won the Super Bowl and, even in 2018, the no call game, it just seems like ever since then it's gone downhill with injuries. And some of it isn't, season ending and it's like, but, when you lose guys, like important key guys, like for 4 or 5 games during a critical stretch, it just, plain and simple, it just sucks. You can't have that, You can't have that early in the season. Mike's a big part of the offense. You saw how good he was in the first game. Jarvis is key to the offense. You got to have those guys. Now you have Chris Olave, who's probably not going to play unless he's symptom-free with the new protocols. It's just always something. There's always something throughout the season. And, look, I was saying, hey, man, the 49ers are also just as banged up at key players, and they win games. And there are no excuses. You got to find a way to win, and plain and simple. And I understand it's a lot of key players, but you got to find a way to win, especially at home.
Your thoughts on Andy Dalton and his rhythm, and also, what's the latest on Jameis?
Yeah, I still think, man, Jameis may be 2 games away. I mean, and Andy's executing the offense with precision, confidence. He's very efficient, and makes pretty good decisions. Outside that throw to Traquan Smith, that was a little too inside. Traquan hadn't even made his break yet and should have thrown it to the sideline a little bit more. But he's playing better, and it doesn't hurt to have Alvin Kamara out there healthy. And like you said, Taysom Hill running portions of that offense. I think, had they played him in the Carolina game, I think they would have won that game. They would probably have more confidence going to London. Things would be completely different. Hindsight is 20/20. I don't think Jameis is ready. I really don't. I think it's still 2-3 weeks away. And that's just, like Dennis said yesterday, it's incomplete with his health.
Obviously, this revamped Bengals offensive line really haven't shown the dominance you would love to see. A lot of pressure on Joey B, a lot of sacks. How confident are you in this Saints pass rush they can get after Burrow this Sunday?
I will say, just watching what I saw Sunday, I know the Ravens didn't blitz them at all. They only gave up 2 sacks the week before 1. So they've given up 3 sacks the last 2 games compared to 13 in the first 2 games of the season. So the offensive line seems like it's playing better. But if the Saints go with the we're not blitzing approach, that's where you get torn up by Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, if T. Higgins plays, and Tyler Boyd. Got to get after Joe. When you put Joe under pressure, he gets rid of the ball quickly, makes some poor decisions. You got to make him do that. You can't just sit back and expect your defensive line to go after Joe Burrow, who's, last time he was in Dome, put up some pretty significant numbers in a championship win. So I think the Saints defensive line has played better. They just can't give up the big plays. Been an issue for them this year. 32 big plays in terms of run game and the passing game, 10-plus yards running, 20-plus yards passing, 6 of 32 or more yards in that Seattle win. Can't happen. That just cannot happen, no matter who's out there playing. So you got to find a way to affect him. That's where it starts. It's cliche. You got to affect the quarterback, and if you do it to Joe Burrow, you have a good chance of winning the game.
Sharif, we did an exercise last year on this show where we started the season, said how many teams, name the teams you think have a chance to win the Super Bowl. And we were going to do it every single week, and you could never add a team back. Once they were off, they were gone forever. And neither one of us had the Bengals on to even start. But the point of the exercise was just to kind of see how wrong we were over the course of a season. And it turns out with the Bengals showing up, you were pretty wrong. And so I'm getting used to following the entire flow of an NFL season, coming from a world in college football where you lose 2 games, see you later, like the lights are out. Now I'll look up and literally 20 teams are 2-3 or 3-2 in the NFL right now. That is 2/3 of the league is between those two. So how do you feel right now, sitting here in the middle of October, about the Saints' prospects for this season, just what they could do?
Well, for them to make somewhat of a run to even get into the playoffs, they have to get, of course, healthy. They have to be healthy at the right time. If they get healthy there, as soon as they hit the middle of the season and stay as healthy as possible towards the back half, they're going to have a chance. And continuity, they're going to have to build some continuity and a little bit of chemistry. On top of that, got to force the takeaways and stop turning the ball over. Plus-minus differential, last in the NFL. 13 giveaways, last in the NFL. 5 takeaways, it's bottom of the NFL. If they can just kind of flip those numbers a little bit, I feel good about their chances, especially if they stick with Andy and the offense can find some rhythm. I think they're in a good spot because, like you said, a lot of 2 and 3 teams, and some of those teams we thought were going to be good aren't that good. The Rams, they're awful. They're not playing good football. The Cardinals, who knows? Bengals, yeah, they may be 2 and 3, but I think they're a little bit better than that 2 and 3 record, and it seems like they're starting to play better. But on this stretch run, they're playing teams I thought that were going to be way better that aren't that good right now. So they're going to have a chance if they could just find an identity over the next 5 weeks.
A lot of question marks for Pete Carmichael, especially with some of the struggles this Saints offense has had, but obviously a huge boost in production. How much confidence did you get that seeing that last Sunday, and then how much confidence you have going forward for the Saints offense?
I think, Andy and Pete are really doing well. That seems like a pretty solid 1-2 punch. I think he has grasped Pete Carmichael's offense a little bit better in these last 2 games. And I think you'll see a little bit more in this game. I just think it's just like, getting a new player in the offense. You got to give him a few games. And it's good to have a veteran like him who's, had the playoff experience and all the starts under his belt with Cincinnati. And it really helps going into a big game like this. I think the confidence is there. It's going to continue to elevate a little bit more, especially when you get Mike and Jarvis back and when Chris is healthy again. It should seem like a very viable offense. And this is an offense you had a lot of high hopes for when the season started, when Jameis Winston was healthy too. So I think they can be pretty solid. They just got to be pretty solid. The defense has to just wake up and do something too. And I think, if the offense can get it going, I think it helps the defense too.
2 more preseason games for the Pels, Sharif. You feeling the buzz?
Yeah, man. I mean, they've looked good. I mean, they're deep. They have one of the deepest teams, one of the deepest rosters. I mean, some of these guys aren't even going to touch the floor. That's how deep they are. And, Miami, then they play the Hawks in Birmingham, and then next week on to Brooklyn to start the season. And feel good. I mean, just got to get, CJ and BI healthy. They don't really, need to play in these preseason games. Would be nice just to break off a little bit of rust, but they're going through some intense practices these last couple of weeks during training camp, and I think they're fine. And, the expectations, will be higher for the Pels than they were for the Saints this season, and that's a good thing because they have the talent to be at least a top 5 team in the Western Conference.
All right, Sharif, we appreciate it, man. We'll do it next week.
All right, man. Enjoy the game Sunday. Hope I see you soon.
I'm not going to be there at the game. That's Sharif Ishak, WDSU. I'll be laying low on Sunday. It'll be a late night on Saturday for us at the post-game show, and I did not partner with the Bengals Booster Association, which I just made up at the top of that interview. But I am looking forward to the game a little bit. I love watching Joe play, and should be a fun atmosphere in the Dome for a couple teams that really need to win. So we will talk about that as the week progresses. Take a time out, come back with more to finish up a Tuesday edition of Hunt and Hill.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Start NFL Week 6 off right with the no-sweat same-game parlay from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or already have an account. You'll get free bets back if your Thursday night same-game parlay doesn't hit. NFL same-game parlays are the perfect way to combine your bets for a chance for an even bigger payday.
The Bengals are a favorite in New Orleans this weekend, so if you want to ride with Joe B and Jamar Chase, you're going to have to lay 126 on the money line, lay 1.5 in the game. If you want the Hoodats, you're catching $1.08 coming back to you with the Saints at home against the Bengals. Build your own same-game parlay or choose a pre-built one in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. However you want to play, you can bet the NFL on Thursday night with a no-sweat same-game parlay. Just sign up with the promo code 1045ESPN if you don't already have an account. If you already have an account, you're all set. Just sign in and see what you got. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana, 3+ legs. Minimum $1 bet required. Refund issues and non-withdrawable free bet that expires 7 days after receipt. Max free bet $5. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you're somebody who has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
ITI's got all these programs. Once I started and learned everything about the school, it was worth it.
The challenges that ITI presented me with, it allowed me to build myself up.
All because of ITI, I actually was able to get a job within 3 months before graduation in my field.
Get the hands-on training you need for the job you've always wanted. With so many companies hiring right now, it's the perfect time to come to ITI Technical College. Enroll today for a better life.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Order curbside pickup online or with Rouse's Market Shopping app and let Rouse's personal shopper shop for you. Curbside pickup is free and you pay the same price for groceries as in-store. Use code SAINTS20 and save $20 on orders of $100 or more. That's curbside convenience. Shopper style.
Oh, yeah!
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Do you want to talk about Eli Ricks?
I mean, that's a talking point of the Bayou for a chat. I mean, I didn't even know what happened. I know he hasn't played much football.
He
and
put
then
a dumb picture up on Instagram and LSU clothes with some words that don't make sense. I do want to come somewhere. It's just not. it's not. I don't know what he said. It doesn't matter.
Oh, man. Yeah, it doesn't. I don't really care to talk about that. Yeah.
He's not coming to LSU, people.
Blah, blah, blah.
That's not happening. So don't, just because he put a picture of him in an LSU jersey, just don't worry about that.
Exactly.
All right, take it or leave it. Finish every day with it. Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni says on prepping for the Dallas Cowboys for their Sunday Night Football showdown that edge rusher Micah Parsons will be accounted for on every single play. That's probably a good idea. Take it or leave it. The Eagles can stop Micah Parsons from wrecking this game.
I'm going to leave that for now. I haven't really seen anyone be able to deal with that kid. Even one leg with his growing messed up, he's still just wrecking games, forcing strip sacks. Like, I got to see it. I know they got Lane Johnson on one side, but, man, that kid's just different, man. I'm sure Taylor Sharp's just licking his chops every week when he gets to watch that kid patch rush. So, yeah, I don't see anyone really stopping that guy. He's going to probably have a sack or two in this game. Alrighty, here on the latest. No, this is me right here. Okay. When asked what's the cause for their early season struggles to start the season, head coach of the Commanders, Ron Rivera, said it was a quarterback. Are you taking or leaving? Putting the team struggles on the play of my man Carson Wentz, MVP Carson.
I'm gonna take it. It's a tough look when the other quarterbacks in your division are Daniel Jones, Cooper Rush, and an emerging Jalen Hurts. I don't disagree that having good quarterback play really helps NFL teams, and he may not be wrong that Wentz may be atrocious, but probably not the best thing to say. Whatever. Ron Rivera doesn't care really. He's probably going to get fired and get a lot of money. It is what it is.
Yeah, it is. Definitely is. All right, here. After the Yankees finished their season finale, closer Aroldis Chapman, he took his talents to South Beach, where he missed a mandatory team meeting before heading into the NLDS, which caused the Yankees management to remove him from the postseason roster. Missing a mandatory team meeting for a visit to South Beach. Take it or leave it.
Probably going to leave it. Aroldis never been the most accountable guy. Right before he got traded to the Cubs, he was in his house and like shot up the garage with his pregnant girlfriend inside or something. Like, he wasn't shooting at anybody, just firing off rounds in the garage. Aroldis is a bit of a tough sell, and now everyone throws 100, so he's no longer like some unicorn that's the best pitcher in the major leagues. He's just another guy, and so what really sucks for the Yankees that Scott Efros, who they got from the Cubs at the deadline, very likely was going to do some closing for him in the playoffs. Just announced today he's got to have Tommy John, so trouble for the New York Yankees and their bullpen. Last one. On the latest episode of the Let's Go podcast, Tom Brady talked about the roughing the passer call on Grady Jarrett, saying it was a long hug. He doesn't throw flags, he throws tablets. And taking or leaving, it was a long hug that caused a roughing the passer penalty.
I guess I have to take it, but I like the trolling on man Tom's doing. He's just, nothing to lose. They talk about a cat being backed against the wall. What about a goat being backed against the wall? That's what I'm seeing from my man TB12 right now. Just throwing tablets, cursing out his teammates, just blaming everything on everyone else. But they're winning, man, so you can't really get too
It's a
mad
tough
at
act. Like, it's hard to watch sometimes. I'll be really honest. I've never had a dog in the fight with Brady. I think he's a brilliant quarterback, and I've enjoyed watching him for a long time. I don't really pull for him or against him, but it's hard to watch. And I get for the Saints fans that have now been watching him for 3 years that hate him, because I get it. I see where that comes from. That's going to do it for us here on a Tuesday edition of Hunt and Hill. You missed any of the show, catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Open up talking about LSU's offense. Did a little bit of roughing the passer. Glenn West was with us at 1:30 from Go 247. Baseball thoughts from the first weekend of fall ball at the end of hour number 1. You can catch those about 1:45. Then we talked a little special teams for LSU and Sharif Ishak, WDSU, at 2:30. And we always finish things up with Take It or Leave It. Tonight I'll be out at Pluckers, 8:30 at Nicholson, watching playoff baseball and having some sports trivia. Going to be a ball. Charlie Hannegriff got you on Game Time tonight from 6 to 8. Matt Moscona ready to roll. He's going to drive you home on After Further Review from 3 to 6. We'll see you tomorrow for a Hump Day edition of Hunt and Hill. Have a good Tuesday.